Hey everybody, this is Dr. William Clark here for Leadership Conversations. This is the show where we talk about leadership according to the world that matters to you. We're in 2019 and we're still at the beginning of the year. And this is the time where people set a whole lot of New Year resolutions or they try to reset themselves. And one of the things people try to do when they set these New Year resolutions is they're ultimately trying to figure out how to produce maximum results. And I wanted to share this with you, how to create routines that allows you to produce at your maximum capacity. This is in no way all exhaustive, but these are a couple of thoughts that I want to share with you, things that I do that helps me to produce. But ultimately, all this starts with routines. Number one, identify routine tasks. Obviously, based upon the topic of this podcast, you got to identify tasks that you do that are routine and that are repetitive every day, sometimes multiple times a day, or tasks that you do every week, things that have to get done every day or every week. Identify those things. There are a bunch of those things that exist. Number two, after you identify those routines, begin to systematize those routines or those tasks. And what that means is if you can automate them or do it in the same way every time since you will get the same result, do that. So, for instance, if you know that you have to wake up every day at 5 o'clock and you try to do that without any system to it, when you're not going to wake up at 5 o'clock. However, to create the system where you can wake up at 5 o'clock, you have to train yourself to do that. You have to go to bed at a certain time. For some of you, it's 8 or 9 o'clock. You have to set your alarm for 5 o'clock, get a full night's sleep. And after a while, some say 21 days, your body will then respond automatically to get up at the same time every morning. Even if you go to sleep late, even if you miss your deadline to go to bed, you will still wake up at 5 o'clock because you set the precedent and you systematized the process to wake up at 5 o'clock. Take that example and apply it to other examples in your life. Find the routines, systematize them. And number three, schedule check ins on those tasks to make sure that you are appropriately systematizing those things. While, yes, in your mind, you're going to do it. If you don't take the time to evaluate your practices or the strategies you're utilizing to get something done on a regular basis, you're not going to necessarily guarantee that you're systematizing tasks that you're trying to normalize in your life. And number four, if you want to create routines to be productive, super productive, use your most energetic hours to get stuff done that's hard and that's mind and time intensive. For me and for most people, the most productive hours you have are in the morning. For me, I'm most productive at 5 o'clock, between 5 and 7:30. I get a lot of the heavy lifting done, and that's when I'm my best self. That's when I'm most energized. That's when I'm giving my all. Like my mind is fully engaged in ideas and things that I got to get done and produced. And the rest of the day is spent in meetings, talking with folks on my team, strategizing about other things that don't necessarily require as much mental energy, but the things that require a lot of energy, I get them done in the morning. For you, it may be different. For you, it may be mid morning. For you, it may be afternoon. For you, it may be in the evening. And a lot of this does depend on the environment with which you're operating in, family, kids, etc. But you got to find that right time where you're super duper productive. So I hope that you find this helpful, particularly as you are entering into 2019 and you're going through the year and you're setting your goals and you want to see your goals achieved. Now, let me just back up for a second. Now, you're trying to achieve major goals. And I'm just going to say that in order for you to do that, you have to look at some of these things I talked about here. You got to look at your routines because if you get too busy working on routines or doing routine things, it's going to take away time that you need to dedicate to achieve bigger goals that you want to see happen in 2019. Okay. So re-listen to this podcast, rewatch it, whatever you got to do, take notes. But look at the routines that you have, and you'll find yourself super productive because now you'll find that you have more time to do things that are major that you want to accomplish in 2019. This is Dr. William Clark for Leadership Conversations. Before you go, do not forget to like and subscribe and share this podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TV, Twitter, and YouTube. And subscribe to this podcast utilizing your favorite podcasting platform. If you do not have one, look at anchor.fm, download the app, and subscribe to Leadership Conversations with Dr. William Clark and use that as your podcasting platform. I'm there often with a podcast update regarding leadership according to the world that matters to you. We'll see you in the next